Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Raising Them Hip Hop. Today, again, Dad flying solo. Little fellas aren't feeling very good, that back to school stuff. But I thought we would just get into one of the songs that you guys have requested me kind of react to a little bit. So we'll get into some Eminem on The Ringer. Now, this is after the fact, obviously, this album came out, but I haven't really had a chance to listen to this as much as I wanted to anyway, so this is going to be kind of fun anyway for me to go back and reflect on it. Just a couple deadlines. I'm a filmmaker, so one of the things that I do is obviously commercial work, and we've had a couple big deadlines that we've had to get some product turned around fairly quickly from raw to finish, so that's kept us busy. But we're going to get into Eminem, The Ringer. Now, I remember when I first heard this track there a week or so ago, right away, it was a different vibe from his last few albums. I just remember thinking, like, okay, he's pissed. Something's got him worked up. And you could kind of tell that this was going to be an important album for him. Personal, like he had something to get off his chest. And that turned out to be the case in a lot of cases, or in a lot of instances on this album. So let's see if I can't dissect it a little bit, and we'll break it down. And again, I want to thank everybody for subscribing and the comments. Like, it's been crazy. I am going to do more of these. I'm not just going to do Eminem. I'm going to be doing, like I did Breadman. We're going to do some Rock Marciano. I think I'm going to get into some Czarface. Vinny Paz dropped a new video. His album's coming out. So we'll touch a little bit of everything. And we'll get into it. And I hope you guys just keep liking it. Keep sending me requests, comments, and I'll do what I can to fulfill them. And I thanks a lot, guys. This is not something I thought I'd be doing, to be quite honest with you. So much love. Anyway, let's get into this. And we'll check it out. Now, I'm not going to be using YouTube today. I'm going to be using... Sorry about that. My cat scared me. I'm not going to be using YouTube to record this one. I'll just use iTunes because we had bought the album, and we'll just go from there. So let's get into this because this is a pretty long track. And here we go. Eminem, The Ringer from Kamikaze.
First thoughts. See where this takes me. I feel like I want to punch the world in the fucking face right now. Yeah. Let me explain just how to make greatness straight out the gate. I'm about to break you down. Ain't no mistakes allowed. We'll make no mistake. I'm about to rape the alphabet. I make waves. Surprise. If I press the issue just to get their hand cut out. Full magazine can take staples out. Savage. They ain't thinking about the bank account. But bitch, I'm off the chain like Caleb Brown.
Okay, there's a few things in those few bars. He is preparing all the listeners. This isn't going to be an Eminem album that you've heard in a while. The first line in the bar is not the opening chord or little introduction, but let me explain just how to make greatness. And he's going to proceed to do that in all these bars that he's about to spit. When you hear an MC kind of start with a chip on his shoulder like that, like I'm about to take you guys someplace, usually it's going to be something dope. If you're a hip-hop fan, it's going to be something dope, because you can hear it, you can feel it, right? And in these opening bars, and he even says it back in the intro, feels like he wants to punch the world in the face. He's been putting up with a lot of shit, I think, for the last 2 or 3 albums, right? And taking it, and I think even he kind of forgot who he was and where he came from, that battle rap, and doing what he had to do to maintain his rep. So he's setting it off right from the get-go. Like, I'm done, I'm back. He's been sober now for how long? So he's not cloudy or none of that shit. I think he went and reflected after Revival. And by the way, I dug Revival. I really did. I mean, there was a few tracks on it I didn't like. To me, by far not his worst album at all. I dug that album. My wife loved it. My son loved it. A lot of my hip-hop friends really dug it. So I don't know where the hate came from, especially from journalists, but it's been interesting to see, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So anyway, let's continue here. we're kind of doing what he's talking about, right? Which, you know, you feel shitty about, where, yeah, you know, he's basically saying, I mention you, lose for me, win for you, millions of views. We're mentioning him, and I'm not trying to critique him. I'm not trying to say this is dope or thumbs up or thumbs down or 5 stars out of 5. I'm not going to do that. I just want to hear bars over a beat and an MC be raw, and I'm going to give my thoughts on what they're saying. But everyone that reacts to the video is actually guilty of what he's talking about, so he's taking a shot at all of us too, whether we want to admit it or not. But it's a shot to all of us. It's not just a shot to rappers and all that nonsense. I agree with him 100% on this fact. Do you have any idea how much I hate this choppy flow? And everyone copies. I can't stand that shit. To me, an MC is just brr, 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 non-stop. Just bar, punching in the face, non-stop. Well, punching in the ears, non-stop with bars. And breaking it down like this and doing it's nursery rhymish. It's literally, you know, twinkle twinkle little star. That's exactly what he's talking about, is these simplistic, simple-minded rappers of today. I hesitate to call them that, and the audience for digging them, because it's kind of like the audience has accepted dumbed down versions of what used to be dope. It's just a changing of the time, changing of the guard. But I personally, as someone in his 40s, who grew up in hip hop, feel very much like Eminem does on this song with that particular bar. I can't stand that shit. It drives me nuts. Lazy. M's even going after the government. I mean, look, that BET freestyle, he went after Trump in a big bad way. He's definitely voicing his opinion. And I think a lot of these bars, hang it on a spike fence, bang it with a pipe wrench, while I take my ball sack and flick it like a light switch, like Vice President Mike Pence. This is a grievance list. You know, it started with, you know, the fans, the choppy flow rappers, a little bit at Lil Yachty. He says it's not a diss, but it kind of is, because, you know, he precedes that, not even a diss, by saying how much he hates the goddamn choppy flow. So, I mean, this is M's grievance list. This song it shouldn't have been called The Ringer. It should have been called, you know, Grievances. You know what I mean? Now that line stuck out to me, and it didn't get a lot of play. No one mentioned it. Turn down for what? I ain't loud enough. Nah, turn the volume up. No, volume, and the way he enunciates it. I think there's a little bit of a shot at Lil Jon there. No one really mentioned that. But his song was, turn down for what? And M just said, no, I ain't turning shit down. I'm turning it up. So I don't think it was a big diss. I just think it was one that got missed. And I think it was just another one of M's grievances of, like, I don't understand how a song that just repeats itself over and over and over, lyrically, can be as big as it was. Right? Now, M and I have one thing in common. We're older than these cats. He's older than me. So the younger people are just gonna be like, y'all hating. Y'all are just hating. No. We're schooled in the old ways of hip hop. And that shit just did not get play back in the day. It would never have survived. It would have never got radio play. It would have never got any spins. It wouldn't have been anything in the club. Even the club tunes back in the day had to be saying something. Gin and Juice, Snoop Dogg. Had 3 verses, had a chorus, blew the clubs up. Right? Nowadays, it's just, I don't know. So, anyway, to the point, I think that was just a little shot at Lil Jon, but I could be wrong. It could just be I'm having, fun with words. I don't know. But I think it was because he kind of falls into some of the stuff that he's grieving about, right? So anyway, let's get back into it. Pick a name. Tell me who. And I'll fucking chew him up. That's what he's saying. Tell me, drop a name. Even if it's someone he likes, he'll destroy him. This is just someone who's fed up. Right. He obviously has a real issue with the current state of hip-hop as a whole, the culture. And he's just ticking off a checklist of the people and the artists that he thinks are bringing the culture that he fell in love with down, from top to bottom, and he's using their own style against them. So Finger Bang, Chicken Wang, and GK. It's a ridiculous line. It's funny to us because we know what he's doing. He's making fun of them. This is the height of your lyrical ability. Emma's just like, I can do that anytime. What the hell? You know what I mean? So it's nice to see that he's calling them out. He's also calling them for dick riding too. Let's not front. He's saying that you guys are trying to sound like the Recovery clone, and y'all are sounding like Lil Wayne. If you came out back in the day, and I keep saying this, but when DOS Effects came out with the Iggity, it wasn't for everybody. Right, go look up DOS Effects and you'll see that a very specific style was unique to them. They blew up. It started with They Want Effects and it just blew up. Right, they were part of the Hit Squad after EPMD broke, and some went with Redman and the Def Squad, like Keith Murray, Redman, and some went with PMD, and DOS Effects went with PMD, and they came out after. When they were still EPMD, that was when they released their first album, because Eric Sermon produced most of that first album. But when the single They Want Effects came out, it blew up. People loved DOS. Now, for me, their third album, Hold It Down, was my favorite. It was just non-stop classic hip-hop sound. But the point I'm trying to make is, if DOS Effects had come out, which they did, and then another group came out, right? You can bite many different ways. You can bite production style. And that kind of slid a little more until Wu-Tang came in. Because the crew didn't let anyone try to sound like Wu unless Wu signed off on it. But if you took someone's style and then tried to repurpose it for yourself, you got no love in the industry. And I can actually give you an example of that. There was a group that came out called Hood Rats, and their album Sneaky Motherfuckers came out. And there was some pretty good tunes. But they were an Onyx clone. They were trying to sound and capitalize on what Onyx did. And rappers in the industry just said, fuck, kill that. We ain't playing that. And you never heard from them again. They never had another album after that. And Onyx didn't need to address it or say shit because the industry did for them. The industry had their back. They're the originators of the Bald Head Attack, Mad Face Invasion. You guys stay the fuck away. So if someone had to come out and did the same thing with DOS Effects, and there was a few that attempted, But the industry, the community of hip-hop artists would have shut that shit down. And they would have got called on it. That doesn't happen anymore. It does not happen. I could put out a song tomorrow and tweak my voice and all this shit and try and sound like Lil Wayne. And if it was catchy, people would dig it. No one would call you out for it. Now, to be fair, 90% of rappers start by standing in a mirror, reciting their favorite rapper, their favorite song. So when they start, they sound like who they're impersonating. So if you listen to Big L and love that album when you're a kid and you're reciting it constantly, when you go to try and do a rap, you're going to sound like Big L. It's just the way it happens. It's just, that's the nature of it, right? The trick is, and the key is, to keep pushing yourself to find your voice, your little unique element of this hip hop thing. That was the key. And M's calling everybody out on that right now. Because he just said, you're trying to sound like a recovery clone, or you're fucking trying to sound like Lil Wayne. And he even dropped names. So as someone who's old school, I love that line. I love what he just did there. Because he just said, everyone that sounds like me or Lil Wayne, y'all are dick riders, and we don't play that shit. And that's the way it used to be. It used to be that way. And I'm glad M is calling them back on that. And I can guarantee you, old school hip hop rappers, when they heard that line, they were like, finally. Because now they get called haters if they call someone out, right? And it's not. It's hating that you're trying to not push yourself to be your own voice. It's too bad. Anyway, that's a dope hip hop line. That's a classic hip hop line right there. See, and what he did there, he just continued. You know, I heard you mumbling, but it's jumbled and mumbo jumbo. Again, just body blows to this mumble rap bullshit, nonstop. I've actually seen people saying, I don't think Emma's hating on mumble rap. What more do you need to see? He's called them by name, he's used their bullshit lyrics, and he's just said, I heard you're mumbling, but it's jumbled and mumbo jumbo. Mumble rap, jumbled and mumbo jumbo. The dude doesn't like that style. And it leads to a good question we'll get into a little bit later. And who does he love? If you ain't Joyner, if you ain't Kendrick or Cole or Sean, then you're a goner. What do those cats have in common? They're lyricists first. They're MCs. It's not hard to see where Eminem, his hip-hop allegiances lie. It's not with the person necessarily. It's with the artist and their ability as a microphone master. It's as simple as that. Not hard to see. Okay, alright, like, come on. What you just saw, for the last, 8 to 10 bars, was someone who had just had enough. I mean, come on. What he just did with these bars right there, just then. The dudes he's talking about, not Joyner or Sean or, Cole or Kendrick or any of them, those cats, but, the dudes he mentioned before, Lil Zane, all that shit. They couldn't deliver the kind of bars he just did with the ferocity, with the cadence, with the clarity, being able to connect it all, speeding up as he goes. They couldn't do that, and it's just because he's on a different level. M functions on a different level when it comes to his vocabulary and his ability to articulate what he wants to say, and as fast as he wants to say it for every one of you to get it, as quick as he wants you to hear it. There's very few cats that can do that. Kane could do it. Rakim could do it. G-Rap could definitely, Big Pun. There are cats that could do it. I'm pulling from the crates of way back, though, because I can't tell you too many people that can do it today. I can give you some that can do it today. Rugged Man, apathy. Hell, even Vinny Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks. Even Vinny, on a few of his songs, has shown that he has that ability, but he knows his audience and knows what they want, so he kind of stays within that bubble. Chino XL. These are cats that could probably go and deliver something punch for punch as far as speed, being articulate, and connecting the dots for everybody. But they're not who blows up. They don't use auto-tune. You know what I mean? What you just saw there, those few, that pack of bars, was wizardry. It was lyrical wizardry. And I don't think the cats that he's talking about could do it. Now, I could be wrong. They could just be comfortable in their bubble of what they do with mumble rap. And within them is this ridiculous, ferocious MC. I don't know. We've never seen it. Put that shit out on Front Street and you'll find out exactly where you stand. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Dope lines. What I love about this little bit of line about sleeping. Sleep is the enemy of hip-hop. It has been forever. And I think Nas summed it up best when he said, I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. But what they're saying is the grind is constant. They don't have time to sleep. They'll sleep when they're dead type of thing. And it also means that they're constantly working at whatever it is they're doing to be the best at what they can be. And that's why they've elevated themselves to the status and stature that they have within the music industry and, fandom, if you will. So for me, I like the lines like that because it's just like, look, this shit is hard. We don't stop. We keep the grind. It's just, to me, that's dope. A little bit of a shot there. It was another shot at Trump voters. I mean, there was a couple, right? But, there's an apple. No, it's not. It's a peach. There's a whole lot of different ways people can take that. The way I choose to take it is the climate that we live in politically, where facts are irrelevant. Truths don't matter. You're just supposed to listen and conform, right? As an artist, it's the same thing. Just shut up, Eminem, and do what we want you to do. Revival's not Slim Shady 2.0, so go to hell. There's a lot of messages within lines like that from Eminem, and it's just trying to get inside his head to figure out who exactly is the target here. What's he saying? Everyone's going to interpret that different, but that's what's great about hip-hop. When you're a real hip-hop student, that's what's great about it, because I could hear it completely different than you cats. And I think there's 1,000 different meanings there. You can go sexual with it, especially because Pootie Tang's right in the next line. There's 1,000 ways you can do it, It's refreshing to see you have to hit the rewind button. What did he say? And it wasn't because you couldn't understand it. It wasn't because you couldn't hear it. It was because your brain goes... The left side of your brain and the right side of your brain goes, let's figure it out. You know what I mean? It just is a screeching halt. And you're trying to figure it out. And your brain is just fighting. The left side is fighting with the right side. And they're just like, it's so dark in here. We need some light. You know what I mean? I love those kind of cerebral feuds because it's just, is he doing this? What's he doing? What did he mean with it? Love it, man. This is, grew up on this. This was my school, right? I was surprised he took a shot at Charlemagne, but at the same time, I wasn't. Is he on his level? So why? But again, this is a grievances list, right? You know what this song reminds me of, honestly? Do you guys remember the movie Goodfellas? Ray Liotta, true story. And he's, all we care about is money. Oh, you didn't get paid? F you, pay me. Oh, your kids needed braces? F you, pay me. Whatever it was he said. To me, Emma's just going, oh, the critics don't like my album? F you, respect me. You guys didn't like Revival? F you, don't evolve. You want to critique me? F you, you do what I do. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a Goodfellas moment. This whole song is it's just a big F you, respect me. You ain't gotta like me. He's going Denzel here in Fences. You ain't gotta like me. You ain't gotta love me. But you will respect me. You know what I'm saying? And anyone who doesn't like Eminem has to at least respect his abilities. If they don't, they're just hating to hate. And you can't even have a debate with them, so don't even bother, because their mind's made up and the key's long gone. This is just an MC with a kill list, essentially. He's perched on top of the tallest building with a mega horn. Come and get me. I challenge you. MGK's made it the farthest if it was a 100-story building. MJK got to like floor 3, sorry. But he got picked off and bounced off the ground. Budden got to like halfway up the first floor. Jamar didn't get anywhere. So this is as much a challenge as it is a grievance list too. I dare any of you motherfuckers to say something to me. Dope.
Give me dope the other day. Had to wait for 2018 to get on the way. But I'm gonna say everything that I want to say. Welcome to the slaughterhouse, bitch. Invite him in like I want a day. I'm not done. Cause I feel like the beast of bird. That line in the sand, was it even worth it? Cause the way I see people turn is making it seem worthless. It's starting to defeat the purpose. I'm watching my fan base shrink to thirds. And I was just trying to do the right thing. But word hit the court of public opinion reached the verdict. I'm still yet to be determined. Cause I'm...
Now here's the thing. Killshot made it to a record on YouTube. Almost 90 million views, I think, at this point, right? Kamikaze was his 9th or 10th number 1 album. His fans didn't go anywhere. The hardliners, when he drew that line in the sand in the BET freestyle, the hardline Trump guys, they may have been burning CDs. Them doesn't care. You bought the damn thing. It's like these people burning Nike because of Colin. Nike doesn't give a shit. You paid for them. You do whatever you want with them after you pay for them. You want to light them on fire? You want to get a donkey to shit in them? Doesn't matter, man. Whatever you want to do. Get your baby to throw up in them. You want to put them under a dump truck? You paid for them. It also kind of shows your intellectual level. If you go, I hate Eminem, I'm going to go to the store and spend my hard-earned money on all the CDs so I can run them over with a steamroller. Alright. Why don't you just go to the bank machine, take some money out, eat it, throw it up, mush it into the ground. That's exactly what you're doing when you go and do something stupid like that. And these people, man, they weren't your fans anyway. They're just, education is way back there. Logic is gone. Logic is not automatic. I've learned that late in life. I thought everyone had a logic circuit. We're not all computers, so some people's logic circuit wasn't formed fully, whether it's in the fetus or in the womb, or during school. I don't know if it's because cousins are marrying too many cousins and the logic circuit just doesn't get developed. But when you try to argue 1 + 1 with people and you know damn well the answer is 2, and they're like, I'm telling you why it's 3, and they get like in this pose and they break it down and point at you, you just walk away. It's not even worth your battle. And that's... don't even address the dudes, man, that thought that line in the sand was too far. Like, as an artist, you have a responsibility to be true to you. The fans are going to stick around regardless. The real fans will. There's only a few things that you as an artist can do that would cause an audience to stop caring if you're a dope artist. Ask Bill Cosby. Ask Bill Cosby what that line is. Or Kevin Spacey. You taking a stand politically as a hip-hop artist, which is kind of what you're supposed to do. Musicians are supposed to be protesting. Right? That's what you're supposed to do. I want to see you guys do that. I want artists to do that. This isn't. That's not a line in the sand, man. You have so far to go before you hit the line. Ridiculousness, man.
Determined to be me, critique the worship. But if I could go back, I'd at least reword it. Instead, I empathize with the people, this evil serpent, so the dreams of the east deserted. But I think it's working these verses. I'm making him a wee bit nervous, and he's scared to answer me with words, cause he knows that he will lyrically get murdered. But I know at least he's heard it, cause Agent Orange just sent the Secret Service to meet in person to see if I really think of hurting him, or ask if I'm linked to terrorists. I said only when it comes to ink and lyricism. But my beef is more media journalists.
So, yeah, you'll never see Donald Trump respond to Eminem. Because Trump clings to his base like a crackhead clings to a rock. You know what I mean? Eventually that rock is going to get smoked up. And you're going to be out doing whatever you need to do, sucking whatever you need to suck to get another rock. And that's going to happen with Trump, too. I find it interesting that he sent the Secret Service, and the Secret Service must have just been like, I can't believe I have to go and meet Eminem this way. This is some bullshit. You know, all they wanted to do was be like, can we have an autograph? Can we ask you some questions about Stan? But now they got to go there because of that punk ass and be like, do you want to hurt the president? Are your intentions bad? No, I made a song because I think he's an idiot. And now you guys are here. Doesn't that kind of demonstrate just how big of an idiot he is? That he sends the Secret Service to talk to me to say, do you want to hurt the president? He's Slim Shady. He's not Al Qaeda. Ridiculous.
I said my beef is more media journalists and get a mouthful of flesh. And yes, I mean eating a penis, because they've been panning my album to death. So I've been giving the media fingers. Don't want to turn this to a counseling session. But they've been putting me through the ringer, so I ain't ironing shit out with the press. I just do the speak to the cleaners.
So, the last few bars there about journalists. I get M's frustration, but I'm going to be real with you. As a Canadian, and a lot of you guys are American, but if you live in a democratic free society, the journalists are important. They really are. If they're legitimate, morale-based, factual-based, research-based journalists, we need them because they expose truth to power. And that's what we, as voters and as their the elected officials, representatives, need. Now, I think the problem is that there's young journalists who don't get the era that Eminem has come up in, which is the era I grew up in. And I think they're hating just to hate because there's nothing catchy on Revival. You know, on none of his songs does he ever say, twerk, or lean like this, then lean like that, or turn down for what? He doesn't say that. So I think a lot of the times, the younger journalists that are really writing evil shit about any artist album, are coming from a place of personal tastes. And that's not what a journalist is supposed to do, especially a journalist who is critiquing. You're supposed to look at the substance, at the ability of the artist to put together a cohesive package. Were the rhymes there? The reason we loved him, is he's still there as far as line for line, bar for bar. Is the production there? Well, Dre wasn't as involved, but he had some pretty good. Rick Rubin knows what he's doing. Topical. He had some topical stuff on there. So I understand from that perspective, and I think the easiest thing to do is just ignore them and do you. I've had some of my film work reviewed, and most of it's been positive, but when we, every project we get a bit bigger, or not bigger, better, sorry, because we push ourselves technically to be better each time. Is our sound getting better? Is our lighting getting better? Is, our camera op getting better? Is the story delivery getting better? And I love criticism, honest to God criticism, as a filmmaker, as a creator. And you can see that some of our stuff on the Mad 5 page, we put it all out on Front Street. from full-length comedies full of technical errors that we did when we were first starting out, to our latest web series, Edge of the Line, Gangster Story. You know, I want that feedback. But there's a difference between a legitimate critique and just, I don't think it was very good. Okay, why? It just wasn't for me. We can't grow as artists if that's going to be the extent of your argument, right? And everyone that's on YouTube that's a creator would understand that. All you guys that are watching, that have subscribed and commented, you guys all have a talent. Every goddamn one of you have a talent of some sort. And where would you be without that talent if you didn't have people saying, look, if you do this and this, try this. It might do, and you take all that, you weed out the nonsense, because there's always going to be some of that. I like to have a say-isms, I say. The people who are just, they want to have a say so they can go, I told them to do that. You know what I mean? You weed that out. But legitimate criticism, feedback, and advice, you take that and build. And all of a sudden you just find you have this mountain to work with of knowledge, and you're well on your way past your 10,000 hours, right? So a lot of people didn't like that M went after journalists. I was torn. I was 50-50. Because at first I was like, nah, you can't do that. But at the same time I was like, no, I think I get where he's coming from. And it's hard to get inside that man's head because none of us knows what it's like. Just like none of you guys know what it was like for me. I grew up in a poor area, single mom. Sister had cerebral palsy. She was older than me, and I had to watch her sometimes. As I told my son, I took a big L line. I tell everyone we weren't poor, we were poor because we couldn't afford the other OR. And for you kids who don't know who Big L is, I can go check it out. Devil's Son. Go ahead. You want to mind blown? Go listen to some Big L. Game changer for you if you've never heard him. But that's what I'm saying is your background, everybody's background and upbringing and experiences contribute to who they are. And if you're a creator or you're artistic, it's visible in your work. It always is. If you go watch all our movies, you'll see a few constants that are always there, but that's just because I'm the writer, right? So you always do that, and M does the same thing. Every MC does that. Every singer does that. So overall, this is a dope song. And actually, you know what? I will say, Method Man from Wu-Tang, he had a line back in the day.
Dig it, F a rap critic. He talk about it while I live it.
It's pretty poignant. For my money, Method Man is one of the top 5 underrated MCs of all time. For bars like that, right? So this isn't a new battle for M. You know, it's something that's been going on for a while in the hip-hop world. I think maybe everyone just needs to have a moment of reflection to be like, am I, like M did with Kamikaze. That Eminem's Kamikaze came as a result of a moment of reflection because of the response to Revival, right? Sometimes journalists need to take that same moment of reflection, or critics, let's say critics, not journalists, critics, and be like, was I being honest to my audience with that critique? Now, as far as this song, for me as a hip-hop fan, this is one of the dopest songs I've heard in a long time. It's non-stop, bar after bar after bar for about 5 minutes. What more of a demonstration do people need to see that this dude is a master of ceremony? He is a razor-sharp microphone master. 45 years old, still killing it. Now, as far as the bar count, like, forget it. The only song I can think of is The Building by AC Alone jumped in my head when I was listening to it. If you go listen to AC Alone's album, I think it was 98's Book of Human Language, the second song, The Building, AC Alone just shows, and that was that his debut album? Because he did work with Freestyle Fellowship, but I can't remember if that was his debut album. I don't think it was. But anyway, on that album, his second track, it's 4 to 5 minutes of him non-stop showing everyone I'm an MC. That's all I can be. And it's dope too. His lyrics are dope, so you should check that out. But this to me was Eminem's Goodfellas moment. This was Goodfellas in rap form. He took shots. He called people out by name. And through everything, he's demanding you respect him. You ain't gotta like me, but you will damn well respect me. And I think it was a checklist for him. And now that I think about it, he could have called this Rap God Part 2. This could have been the sequel to Rap God. He you know, it was just another demonstration of his level of mastery. You know, that's how you set an album off right there. The Ringer. That's how you set an album off. Like Dre did with The Watcher. I mean, that was exactly how you start an album off. And Eminem killed it. Killed it. If this was a court of law, at the end of it, the judge would be like, look, I don't even know what we're arguing about here, but I'm going to sustain everything you just said. I can't. There's no rebuttal, you know. And who are the people that M's gone after? From Joe Budden, and I used to like Budden, to Lord Jamar, Charlemagne, Tyler, Diddy, I guess, MJK. I think that Diddy thing's is gonna blow up a little bit. None of those cats is gonna go and rebut M on the level that he just demonstrated, because they can't. They don't possess the ability. Joe might come the closest. If he really focused and took it back to his roots, he might come the closest. And it kills me to say that about Jamar, because I grew up a huge Brandon Bean fan. Huge. You know, but Grand Poobah was always my favorite, and he left the group, and they were never the same. But there's some dope tracks in God We Trust. Return of the Dread. If you guys want a sample of Lord Jamar just as a dope MC and kind of braggadocious, check out Return of the Dread. That's on Everything Is Everything on their third album. Check out Return of the Dread and you'll hear a dope Lord Jamar. But he doesn't have the ability to go at M like this. I don't think. This is a dope song for me. This is a hip hop song. M has taken it back to the Adidas and microphone, 2 turntables and a microphone. That's what he's done. And you're going to see a split. I really, really think, I'm saying it right now, this album is going to be remembered as when hip-hop split. You're going to see everyone that loves hip-hop, like honest to goodness hip-hop, be here. And then you're going to see a group of people over here that are the modern mumble or one line or, you know, whatever you want to call Lil Jon. And then what you're going to see is more splitting. Because right now it's all hip-hop. Everything's in that bubble. And it shouldn't be. So you're going to have hip-hop. You know, the original culture, 4 elements of hip-hop, MC and hip-hop. And then you're going to see mumble rap, party rap, club rap, asinine rap, you know. And you're going to see that. And they will literally become their own subgenres. Because I think M has just put the stake in the ground, and you're going to see the people who are real hip-hop MCs identify with this. This is where I'm at. And everyone else is going to go and pick their corner, knowing that that's going to be the extent. That's as big as they're going to blow. You know, and some may pack it up and walk away. And I would be all right with that, because I don't think they're contributing anything to the culture that I love. Now, sonically, you may disagree. Yeah, they're contributing to my party or whatever. Awesome. It's not for me. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Any other suggestions, let me know. And I've got a few errands to run, but when I come back, I'm going to get into another one. So take care, peace, hit that subscribe button. Later, guys.